All right, thank you so much. First of all, welcome to the Performing Arts Series brought to you by the Kennedy Center and the Prince William Network. I'm Stefon Harris, and this is my band Blackout. The song you just heard is called Gone from the opera Porgy and Bess. It's written by the great American songwriter George Gershwin. It's also a song that's on our latest CD, Urbanus, and today you're going to be hearing music that is featured on our latest CD. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to the musicians you're listening to. On the piano and keyboards, this is a really super talented guy. He's originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. His name is Sullivan Fortner. On the bass, he's originally from Washington, D.C. Whoa! Let's welcome Ben Williams. On the drums, he's originally from East St. Louis. Let's welcome Terrion Gully. And on the alto saxophone, he's originally from Queens, New York. Let's welcome Casey Benjamin. And I'm originally from Albany, New York, and my name is Stefon Harris. And of course, I play the coolest instruments in the world. I don't know how many of you have actually seen these instruments played before, perhaps in an orchestral setting. I know that you've heard them. A lot of times they're used in films, they're used in cartoons, they're used in jazz a lot also, so I'm sure you've heard them before, but I'm not sure if you've seen them in a concert before. This instrument in the front is what we call a vibraphone. This is a cool instrument. It's one of the only instruments created in America, believe it or not. There's instruments like the banjo was created in America, the drum set, the electric bass, but most instruments like the violin or the alto saxophone, the trombone, these are instruments that were created in Europe. So this is a very, very cool instrument. This instrument to my left is called a marimba, which is also a very cool instrument. It was actually created in Costa Rica. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but just under the bars, you may have seen like a little bit of light sort of flickering under there. Not necessarily, but maybe if you were a little closer, you would see this. Now, let me tell you what's going on. What's happening is inside of each of these tubes, at the bottom of the tube, all the way down there, there's another piece of metal. So when I hit the note, the air goes down, and it hits that bottom piece of metal, right? And then the air shoots back up in this area. So at the top part of the vibraphone, there's another little piece of metal, right? So if I close that top piece of metal, not a lot of air is going to go inside. It's only going to be just a little bit, so it'll sound a little muffled like this. But if I open up, listen to the instrument get louder. Did you hear that? It went from ooh-ah, ooh-ah. Here, I'll show you one more time, just in case you didn't hear it. Listen for the ooh-ah. Right? So what we do is they've attached a motor right here so that I don't have to do that. That would be really hard to play with my right foot, both hands, and turn that. So there's a little motor, and when I turn this motor on, it spins those top discs around, and it creates an effect like, have you ever seen an opera singer, and they sing, and they go, instead of going la, they go la. That's what we call vibrato in music. So they've integrated that effect to the vibraphone to make it sound more like a human voice. So I'll play something like this. Then I can turn this on. You hear that? Watch this. And that's why it's called a vibraphone. Okay, now you guys are experts with the vibraphone. I'm going to give you an example of what they sound like with the marimba. The marimba is very similar, except it's made of wood. It doesn't have the pedal, and because it's made of wood, the notes are a little shorter, but they sound really pretty. They're very organic, like this. Like, here's my favorite note all the way down here. How about this one? Oh. Oh. So I like the sound of the marimba, and I like the sound of the vibraphone. So you'll notice sometimes I like to play them both at the same time. So I'm going to show you how that works. This is a song written by one of my favorite singer-songwriters. His name is Sting. Have you guys ever heard of Sting? Yeah, a few of you guys have heard of him. That's pretty cool. One of the things about jazz that I didn't mention yet is that we're allowed to incorporate all different types of rhythms in what we do, and we're going to be going over different types of rhythms that we use when we play as an ensemble. So the first song, which was called Gone, we used a rhythm that comes from this area of the country, from the D.C. area, and it's a rhythm called go-go. Uh-oh, you know about go-go out here, huh? Okay. I saw one or two of you dancing, too, so that's a good thing. All right, now the next piece that we're going to play is called Until, and it uses a rhythm that's more traditional in classical music. It's a dance rhythm that we call a waltz. Okay, so these are pretty cool instruments. I like them. I'm biased. And they look nice, too. Okay, so now, the music that we're playing, or all music in general, is made up of three very important elements. There's melody, there's harmony, and there's rhythm. So when we're playing a composition, we have different roles that we have to be in charge of. Generally, Casey on the saxophone and myself on the vibraphone and marimba, we're in charge of the melody. Not all the time, but in general we are. So the melody is the thing that you would normally sing if you were singing along with a piece of music. You might go something like this. This would be the melody. See, that's what we would call the melody. It sounds like we're just singing when we're playing our instruments. So that happens. Now, under the melody, you'll notice that the melody is usually just one note at a time, right? We weren't playing big sounds or anything like that, just one note at a time. Then we have the harmony, which is something that happens under the melody. The harmony is like a collection of feelings, you know? Some sounds that people play are really sad. Some sounds are really scary. Some are really bright. Some are really heavy. So Sullivan on the piano, his job is to play a collection of notes and to create different emotions under the melody. And another style that we often integrate into jazz is gospel music. So he's going to demonstrate what it's like when you put several notes together to create emotion. This is Sullivan Fortner. Sullivan Fortner. So you have the melody, you have harmony. Now, of course, we have to have rhythm. It's the rhythm that makes us want to dance. Another style of music that we like to integrate into jazz is hip-hop. So Terrion's going to demonstrate how rhythm works. See, that makes you want to dance a little bit. All great music usually comes from dancing first. Okay, now the other instrument that's up here is a really, really cool instrument. It's a very important instrument, and we're talking about the bass. The role of the bass, he kind of sits right in the middle of everything that's going on. That's why we have him positioned right in the middle, because he can play different pitches on the bass, several notes, different pitches, which fall into the family of the harmony. But he can also play rhythm, so he can put pitch and rhythm together and hold the whole band together. It sounds like this. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to put it all together. You got the bass, you got the rhythm over here, the chords, the emotion, the feeling, and we're going to put the melody on top. This is a song that we call Tanktified. right. That's called Tanktified, and that was written by our drummer, Terry on Gully. Oh. Okay, so historically, one of the earlier forms of dance music in America was called swing. And that's one of the styles of dance that made jazz music very, very popular. It came from swing dancing. So we're going to talk about the rhythm of swing for a minute, and we're going to show you how an ensemble is put together, exactly what role everyone is playing. So as I mentioned before, the bass sits right in the middle of everything, so his role is very, very important. So what he's going to do to hold it all together, he's going to do what we call walking the bass, where he plays a whole bunch of notes in a row, and we call it walking because it just feels like a nice little stroll the way he does it. Sounds like this. That's walking the bass. Starting to feel like jazz. Say it for me. Say jazz. Jazz. Now, the next layer that's very, very important. In the bass, we have rhythm. We have harmony present. The next instrument that's very, very important comes from the drum set. It's not the entire drum set. It's not just the bass drum or the tom-tom or the cymbals or the snare drum. The most important instrument at the drum set in jazz music is what we call the ride cymbal, and it's this cymbal over here to the right. He's going to play along with the bass, and he's playing a rhythm that we call the swing rhythm, like this. Where do you snap your fingers? Where do you think you snap your fingers? Uh-oh. We have a swinging crowd here. There we go. Now you notice Terry-on's playing the cymbal with his right hand. Now there's another smaller cymbal over to the left, which is called the hi-hat cymbal. He can play the hi-hat cymbal with his hand, or he can play it with his foot, with his left foot. So what's happening right now is where you're snapping your fingers, watch, he's going to play the ride cymbal with his right hand, and he's going to use his left foot to play where you're snapping, like this. Oh! Make you want to dance. I see you moving. I see you moving at home out there. Okay. So now, when I was playing before, I don't know if a lot of you noticed, but it seemed like I was singing along when I was playing. It looks like I'm always moving my mouth. It's because I'm actually talking when I'm playing my instrument. It's not so much that I'm singing, it's literally that I'm talking. I'm just saying, man, I'm really happy to be here today. But instead of using the words, I take the words away and I just use the rhythm. Boo-da, doo-doo-da-da. Man, I'm happy. Ba-ba-da-da. To be here today. Boo-doo-da-da-da. See? Kind of makes a little bit of sense. If I say something to Sullivan, we're speaking English. We're just not using the words. If I say to Sullivan, be-doo-ba, boo-doo-boo-da-boo-day-ba, boo-da-doo-da-doo-da. Ah, boo-da-boo-da-boo-day. Boo-doo-boo-doo-da-spoo-boo-doo-da-doo-day. Be-doo-da. Ba-da. Now you can see I said something in the middle, and he said, what? What are you talking about? And then I responded, and he said, oh, okay, I get it. So somehow it sounds like we understand each other even without words. Using the rhythm, we understand each other. Now watch this. If Sullivan says something to me, bara. Still sounds like we understand each other, right? Now watch this. It's like he said, hey, man, do you know what time it is? And I said, oh, man, I love chocolate chip cookies. It's like I'm having my own conversation. I'm not even paying attention. And that's a really, really bad thing in music. The most important element in music is to listen. Before we learn to play anything, we work really hard on our ability to hear so that everything we play is always connected to someone else. So now that we're talking, we just add a little rhythm to our conversation, right? Boom. I say like this, watch this. I say, beep, bop, ba-da, boo, la, dee, ah.
Bed up, ah.
Ooh, ba-da, we do, ah.
Ba-da-da, digga-da-do, way.
Ba-dee-ba-doo-ba-da-boo, la, dee, ah. Ooh, ba-dee-ba-dee-doo, da-da. I don't understand you. You're all talking at the same time. I don't understand. So when I'm playing my instrument, that's what's going on. I'm literally just having a conversation. I'm saying, ah, be do oo do ah dee oo dee ah dee ah ya ah do wee dee. Sometimes I even laugh. I say, ooh eh ooh eh. Ooh eh ah da do way ya do dee ya. See, I'm just talking. Now watch this. We're going to add the bass walking. We're going to have the ride cymbal swinging. We're going to have the hi-hat snapping. And with his left hand, Terrion's going to use the snare drum, and he's going to use the bass drum to talk with me. So you'll notice I'll say something, and then you'll hear Terrion respond to what I say. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. So now we put it all together. It's not just that the drums are going to be talking. The bass will also speak with us too. The way that the bass speaks is like this. Remember I told you he's walking? He's going, boom, 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 boom. If he does that all night, he's going to be bored. So the way that he can talk to us, he can do this. He can say, well, we call them tiggity booms. Tiggity boom. So we go, a boom, 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 tiggity boom, 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 tiggity boom, 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 tip, boom, tip, boom, 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 a tiggity boom, 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 tiggity boom, boom. Right? So now you're going to hear the three of us play together, and we don't know who's going to respond. It may be Terrion responding with the drums to what I say, or it might be Ben responding with the bass. Let's see if you can tell. 1, 2. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the piano can participate too. If he likes what I play, he can say, amen. Now who's gonna respond? Okay, so now we're going to play another song for you that will demonstrate that. We're going to add the saxophone. We don't know who's going to respond as we're playing. I want you to keep an ear wide open. Say, oh, it was the piano. It was the bass. Oh, it was the saxophone talking to the vibraphone. Okay? You never know who's going to say what at any moment. In the first few songs that we played, all of that was going on. Could you tell? Not necessarily, right? This is something new. So now when you go to hear a jazz concert, you're going to be listening for a whole lot more, right? There's a lot of communication. There's a conversation going on. This is a song that we call TT Boom. TT Boom. And it's going to be followed by another song that we call Shake It For Me. Shake it for me. All right, here we go. All right. So you see, we were talking to each other the whole time. Now you guys are experts at listening to jazz. Okay, one other element that we like to add to our music is we like to integrate the sound of R&B. We grew up listening to a lot of great R&B music, like people like Stevie Wonder and a lot of other greats who are out here now in the world creating great music. So we integrate that. One of the biggest differences with R&B is you often hear vocals. We have vocals in jazz from time to time as well, but usually in R&B it almost always has a singer. So we found a way to integrate vocals into what we do. This pretty piano over here that he's picking up, we call it a vocoder. It's a very, very cool instrument. It was actually created in the 1940s by the Army. They created this little box that people could talk into, and it would sort of distort your voice so no one could understand except people who understood the code. And after a while, people decided to use that technology to create an instrument. And great musicians like Herbie Hancock and Joe Zawinul started to create bands that use this instrument. So we're going to show you how it works. The first thing is it's mainly a keyboard. It's set up just like a piano. You see it has the white keys and the black keys. So Casey can show you how he's basically playing a keyboard when he's playing this. All right? That's pretty cool. Now, to also make it sound like a human voice, remember I told you we added vibrato to the vibraphone so that it sounded more like an opera singer, more like a human voice. We always try to make all of our instruments sound more like a human voice. So what they've done with this instrument is they've allowed him to take a pitch and bend it like this. Okay, now another really, really cool element of this instrument is that he actually is able to talk into the microphone. He's literally speaking words, and the keyboard understands his words. It takes his words and speaks it through the keyboard. It's kind of weird. It sounds like this.
Hello, my name is Casey Benjamin, a.k.a. Stubbs McGee. How are you today?
And so now we put all of that together. He's going to be using the keyboard to change the notes and to bend the pitch, and then he's going to be speaking words into the microphone, which will also come out through the sound of the keyboard, so he'll be singing like this. This is his song that we call For You.
La 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 la. La 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 la. Wonder if you thought of me too. Taiwan, you're the only one for me. Darling, can't you see my heart for you? Maybe someday we'll reunite us once again. Maybe that day has come and gone away. Maybe it's the day, yes, we shall see. When all is said and done, I'm here with open arms. No one can take your place. Your touch, your smiling face. Oh, I will get you see. We make history. It's up to you. wonder if you love me too. I want you're the only one for me. Darling, can't you see my heart's for you? Maybe someday when the night is once again, maybe the day has come and gone away. Maybe it's the day, guess we shall see. When love is making I'm here with open arms. No one can take your place. Your touch, your smiling face. All I want is you and me. We were meant to be. That's all I do. I thought of you, wonder if you love me too. I want you're the only one for me. Darling, can't you see me? My heart's for you. My heart's for you.
All right, that was pretty cool, huh? Casey Benjamin on the vocoder. How about a round of applause again for Sullivan Fortner on the piano and keys? Ben Williams on the bass. Terrion Gully on the drums. Once again, Casey Benjamin on the alto saxophone and vocoder. And yours truly, Stefon Harris on the vibraphone and marimba. Thank you. This is the afterthought. Now you're going to notice we're going to integrate most of those things that we talked about. You're going to hear some hip hop. You're going to hear some swing. We're going to be listening, communicating, all that good stuff. All right, guys.